many widows are subjected to suffering by the society in general and their in-laws in particular. This is especially true in the third world, where to be a widow is often to endure a life of neglect, discrimination, loneliness, and most times poverty. I am Ifoma Duribe, your host on today's program, and I am joined by Nollywood veteran actress Mrs. Gloria Young and barrister Adora Ochubile, and of course my co-host Cyprian Joy. Welcome to Afro Issues, everyone.
Thank you.
Now, what are the problems affecting widows in Africa? Barrister Adora, please, I would like to answer that question.
All right. There are so many problems affecting widows in Africa. These are problems that we can't really itemize. There are really much. But we have problems like harmful widowhood practices. We have issues of their in-laws firstly taking their belongings away, taking their children away. And then when they have no male child for the man, you see most times she's forced to either marry one of her deceased husband's brothers, or she has an agreement with them that she stays in the house, goes outside, gets pregnant, and brings back a child for them.
Just to continue the
name. The line that she may give birth to a son to carry on the name. And apart from that, there's so many other issues affecting widows.
From jumping the grave to drinking
to
of bath water remains.
The water used to wash the corpse, shaving the head, and then she wouldn't take her bath for 3 days, sleeping on the bare floor, swearing before the corpse that she didn't kill him.
To prove her innocence.
To prove her innocence. So there's so many of them.
And you were even leaving out shaving of pubic hair. I think we're shying away from that.
Yes, it happens. It happens. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Young, please, do you have any other thing to add to that?
Well, I would like to ask, especially as a lawyer is here now, if there is a particular age range that decides who a widow is, first of all. Because I know there's some people whose husbands die while they're pretty young, maybe after their first or second year of marriage. Are they termed widows also? Are they also in the same category as all the others?
Yes.
Whether they have children or not. You know, I'm saying this because I know there are one or two practices that you didn't mention, you know, in the sense that, oh, she's still young, she should leave the child and go, she should leave the two children and go, that kind of thing.
A widow is any woman whose husband is late, irrespective of how old you are. Yes, it might be 18 and your husband is dead, you're a widow.
So regardless of how long she's been married. She will be made to go through those practices?
No. As long as your husband is
dead,
you are a widow.
Okay, well, I've heard when you say what other practice, I've heard of how a widow was asked to leave her two children, you know, for the family because they felt she was young. They were not interested in her because they thought she killed the husband. You know, so they said, okay, leave these two children and go.
But
the children
are ours.
The children are ours. It belongs to our family.
So she's no longer a member of the family.
You are no longer a member of the family because we know you're young. We don't want you to go and carry belly from somewhere. That kind of thing. I heard that and I was shocked.
You know, in some tradition in southeastern part of Nigeria, if a woman is cheating on her husband, is expected to stop eating her food. Do you think these traditions were put together for some selfish reasons or for genuine reasons?
I think it was put together for... I'm an African and I don't understand why a woman will be cheating on her husband and still be cooking for him. Because women are not naturally... Once we have... It's not easy for us to cheat like that. You understand what I mean? If we make up our minds to cheat, we have closed our minds to that other man. So the food self, we know go sweet. That's what I mean. You understand what I mean? If I'm married to you and I get to that level in my brain, you understand? Because it's actually for women, it's a mental thing. It's not just the physical, it's also mental. For me to get to the extent of cheating on you for whatever my reasons, why should I be cooking for you? So African wise, yes, for the man's safety, the woman shouldn't cook for him. He shouldn't eat her food because she's liable to probably poison the food.
You know, this also goes vice versa.
Vice versa.
Because men also cheat on their wives, you know.
That's right.
So whatever is applicable to the man, it's also applicable to the woman. But I know that we have some cultures where it is said that if a woman is cheating on her husband, and her husband eats the food or maybe makes love to her, or even if he's not aware that she's cheating,
yes,
he may die.
Yes, or run mad.
Or
yes,
run mad.
We have,
we
have such customs.
Yes.
We have such customs. We
Yes,
will not
I
deny
have
it.
heard. I have heard of a
We won't
few.
deny that.
Yes, I've heard of a few. I wouldn't mention the particular area, but the woman started sleeping around. The man lost his job at first. They said it was because she was sleeping around, and then she didn't have any male children. She had 6 girls, and they said, well, if it continues like that, they are going to kick her out or something of the sort. Then the man fell sick. I did ask my husband about this, and he it kind of made sense when he said it to me, but it doesn't. I can't understand. I don't know exactly how he said it. I can't put it together because as a woman, it doesn't make sense to me that if the man knows or has been told that his wife is cheating, and he doesn't do anything about it, then the juju will catch him.
Oh, okay.
So if he's not aware, nobody says anything to him, he doesn't, do anything about it, that's okay. He can eat her food, everything goes on. But the minute he gets suspicious and then maybe asks her, or he catches her a few times in certain, not totally, not of course if a man catches his wife on the bed with another man,
that one isn't conclusive.
Yes, but has major suspicions, and then he doesn't confront her, he doesn't ask her about it, he doesn't call the family members, he doesn't do anything. Gradually it starts to work on him. And when my husband said that, it didn't make sense to him, but now that I think about it as we're discussing, he wasn't working for a long time. Then he got one other smaller job as an accountant. It wasn't making sense. He was working in a big firm, pharmaceutical firm then. And then he wasn't making as much money. All of a sudden, he started falling sick. He went from having stroke. The woman was carrying him from one place to the other, from one church to the other, and they said it was the woman's fault. The village people told her to come and swear, all of that. Finally, the guy really falls ill the illness was really bad, and then they made her go home. She went home, and I think they said one old woman came to the house that day, put something in her mouth and spoke to her, and then she just started confessing. She started confessing, and then from there she left the house, and by this time on her own. By this time the husband had been taken to the hospital, so she left the main village, their own village house, and went to her own house and told everybody not to let anybody see her. So they caught her again when she went to visit her husband, and said, okay, the woman has come to tell us what you said. Now you have to go naked in the marketplace. This man is not dead yet.
That's much.
And these are even what we're talking about. This is already discriminatory against the woman.
Seriously.
For whatever reasons. It was already discriminatory.
Really, really. And that's
right
why
now, her husband is not even dead.
He's not dead. That's
was already going through all
this emotional trauma.
Imagine if the man was dead.
Oh yes, he did die.
That means she would go through.
Wow.
He did die.
And then that is
He
when
did.
you now have the widowhood practice we're talking about.
Oh no, she didn't appear. She ran away.
That's
Of
best
course,
for her
she
because
will.
you know she'll
And
go
you know the
through
worst
more.
part about it, I did see the obituary. I'm telling you a true story. I saw the obituary. Her name was not there. They
As
didn't
a wife?
They didn't even mention wife.
That he was married.
They didn't
That's
say
bad.
survived by wife. They said survived by
horrible.
children, brothers and sisters. I saw
All this happens.
It is
It
so
is
horrible.
horrible. What she has just said about now, it happens. These are part of the issues that women, not even widows, women
in general.
Apart from being a woman in Nigeria, you're already discriminated on. You're already discriminated.
Yes.
Just for the fact that
You're
you're
a
a
woman.
woman. Okay, what if the tide had changed? What if it was a man that was cheating? Would he have been made to go through
all those
all
things?
of
I
that?
was about
Different
coming
ways.
to that now.
So we really have a long way to go.
So what? Okay, as a lawyer, what exactly do you think we should do? Because I think it's already in us. As we're talking now,
Yes.
my reason for saying this is, I can't see what the man will be put through if he's the one that's been cheating.
Well,
if the
the
woman
only-
does not insist.
the only
Most times
thing
woman
I
doesn't.
would say is we should have more advocacy.
Okay.
We should advocate more. We should teach our women their rights. We should go down to the grassroots levels and teach them their rights. When more women are taught about their rights, they're more informed. Then when things want to happen to them, or when things are happening to them, they know they know the steps to take.
Can we have an example? I'm sorry, but she's giving me things
to talk about. It's okay.
And basically, maybe because I've discussed this kind of thing with my friends, and it's not just widows, it's all women, like you said. If a woman finds out that her husband has been cheating on her, maybe he has a child outside.
Okay, right now, what I always advise women is, get yourself something doing.
Okay.
You get yourself something doing. So that you don't have to solely depend on your husband for money, for bra money, for your pad money, for everything. Get yourself something doing, no matter how small it is. That means you are earning. Where it is really, really bad is when there's a man that is footing all the bills.
Yeah.
And then you're at home. You become what we call obiageli. You just
Okay, so like you said earlier, it is already discriminatory to be a woman in Africa. Now, is there anywhere in Nigeria or Africa in general where a man is made to go through these rituals when he loses his wife?
Yes.
Is there anywhere?
Yes.
Or what are these things?
It happens.
Okay.
Like there is this widowhood network that I belong to.
Okay.
I'm just there. When they want to go for their probate, I just tell them what to do. I give them legal advice. And we have some widowers there. And they spoke out. There was one, I think it's from, I really don't know, but the wife was from the east.
Okay.
And then when the wife died, the man was made to go through some, should I call it now, widowers, some practices.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
What's this?
He was made to sit on a stool for 3 days.
Really?
Yes. He said he was made to in her father's compound for 3 days.
In the wife's father's compound?
Yes, he said he was served with a broken plate.
Does it mean, sorry to cut you short,
Yeah.
does it mean it was thought to be that he killed the wife or
No.
what?
I really can't say, but men also go through this. But because of the kind of country we come from, when men don't speak out, you don't know. Our men are taught not to speak out, they're taught not to claim.
Right.
This particular man went through
rights.
it, and he was so traumatized. It was when he was brought into that organization, it's called Dreamful. That is the name of when he was brought into that organization, that he started speaking out. And that was the first time I heard
that a man can go through
that a
things
man
like that.
go through. Okay, let's look at this scenario. When a woman's husband is deceased, the woman can multitask. She can cook, she can do the assignments, she can go to work, she can play with the kids. She does not even think of remarrying. But where a man's wife is deceased, you see the society push him to go and remarry. Why do you think?
He doesn't even get to mourn her for a long time.
No, because they don't multitask.
Yeah.
Men have, when it comes to widows and whatever, when it comes to these practices, men are more vulnerable. That is why they're forced to remarry. The society pushes the men, you have to go and marry. Who will take care of the children? Won't you go to work? But you see a woman, she can stay like that for 20 years because she was built to endure. That is why the society will carry the burden of women. But we forget that of men. We forget the men because they're forced to remarry. And when it's not as if they find love with the woman they're remarrying, just as society expects them to remarry so that the woman will take care of their children.
And the home in general.
Yes. But you see a woman, her husband is deceased, she stays there, she's a soldier, she builds up, takes her children to school, does the assignments, still goes to work.
Let's give it up for women, please.
On this note, let's be fair to the men. In a case where a woman is cheating on her husband or kills her husband, how do you balance this situation? Do you think these same tradition and customs were created to protect the men from the danger of extramarital affair or from a woman's selfishness? How do you balance the situation? Because we've seen cases where a woman kills her husband to inherit his properties or run away with a lover and all that. So we've heard about all these kind of situations.
Look, our laws are very clear on who takes a life. We don't want to know the reasons for taking the life. If a woman has been found to have killed her husband for whatever reasons, to take his property, she should be made to face the law. And also, if a man has been found to kill his wife, maybe to inherit her properties or to get somebody else into the house, he should be made to face the full wrath of the law.
Sorry, I need to ask. You know, I was telling you about this story about this woman. They were so sure that she was the one that killed her husband, but they couldn't prove it. Are you understanding? So when we're talking about the law now, how could they prove that?
Yes.
A few of us who were her friends couldn't prove it. We saw her behavior, but we didn't understand. I mean, you married this man, you have children for him. How come all of a sudden they say you killed him or you're in the process of killing him? Because it boils down to that traditional, a friend of mine calls it TTTV, traditional television. You know, when they will see the thing and they say, okay, the juju that the woman came to marry the man, so there's juju in that clan, and that juju has caught the man because the woman has gone and messed around.
Yes.
It's not as if she used a knife. It's not as if she used poison. I say this because I've had the experience of losing a loved one. My brother, immediate junior brother of mine, died, has a wife, and she had 2 children. And there wasn't anything like that. Basically, maybe because we're educated in the family.
And nobody made her
do anything. Nobody made her, we even told her it was her choice to shave her hair, and she didn't shave her hair. It was her choice to decide how she was going to mourn her husband, and she told us she was going to wear white for 5 months, and the day she was removing the white, she told us. It wasn't, you know, so I figured maybe it was because of the education. But you see, we did have other members of the family.
Yes, we had.
And I wonder.
Yes, like, there was a documentary I watched once on BBC. Like, I think the last time I said it. This man died. He died abroad. He died abroad.
Okay.
The family members here in Nigeria went and got a wife for him.
For a dead man?
Yes, he's already dead.
Really?
He died abroad. They got a wife for him. And then this woman's job was to go and get pregnant and bring the child back for them to bear the deceased man's name.
Oh, I read that somewhere.
Yes, and these
That's
are
barbaric.
also families that are enlightened to an extent. These are families that are enlightened to an extent. So most times now, I don't even think I think it's just individual families.
Yes.
Because you have the really educated ones.
Yes,
When
they
it
do
comes
those
to
things.
these barbaric practices, they are carrying the torch.
The educated ones.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. They
Wow.
carry the torch. When it comes to these practices, they carry the torch. They will tell you, yes, so we're educated, but our customs are still there. We cannot use because we're educated and we'll forget our customs.
How would I sit there and let anyone do these things to me?
Because
What would make me...
maybe because you are enlightened. You've gone to
Yeah.
school.
But you just
That's
said even
the
the
thing.
enlightened ones too go through
I mean,
this.
they make them.
Well, I don't think
Okay.
an
So I don't
enlightened
know
woman
which
would subject
enlightened
herself
person
to a thing
would-
like that.
You know,
An enlightened
well,
person
like
would
you
not
said,
know.
that is the
remember she
tradition.
said
She
it
said,
in the
yeah.
beginning. She said, make sure you have something
Doing.
Because a financially empowered woman will not be
No.
kicked around.
She won't bring herself down to
Yes.
a level like
And
that.
then most times also, our women, when their husbands dies, they're afraid of the unknown. I'm just scared. What would I do? It's not better for me to stay here and endure all these things
And
as long
especially
as
those ones that don't have things to
No,
do, like
even
you said.
those that have.
Really?
It's not for me. Let me just, after all, it's just like a year, and then they let me go. I take that back our houses. I take back our cars. I stay in the city and the house. So they just think of what they will gain, and then they allow other people to beat them down. They be like, after just 6 months.
I think that has a lot to also do with other things. I don't think it's just the plight of the widow per se concerning that, because I think society has so much value, has put so much value on the role of the man in the family. Most times, the woman does 75% of the work.
Yeah.
She does 75% of everything.
And
Yeah,
credit
even
goes
if he
to the
brings
man.
the money. Think about it. A lot of us are married, so we know, we've heard these stories. Even if he brings the money, it's never enough if she doesn't put her own 2 cents.
Yeah.
in it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so most times if you look at it, the woman is not even looking at how she would cope because the man is not there. No. It is how she will be treated, how she will be carried, how she would, go around living a
Doing
life.
a normal life.
Not
She
how
continue her
not,
life.
not what she's missing the most from the man.
No.
Okay.
And the society has a
told
lot
her.
to say too about
So is it
all
not
this
is it not society that should be trained?
That is it. It's the society.
No, really, what I said, and I will say it again, is let us advocate more. Let us do more advocacy. Really, most women are uninformed. Most women are uninformed. If we go to the rural areas, and we call them for a meeting, maybe I don't know how it's going to be organized. We'll call these women out. We teach them their rights first. We teach them their rights. These are your rights as a woman. These are your rights as a widow. These are your rights. And then we let them know that when things happen and are not in conformity with this your rights, you should know that your rights are being infringed upon. That's the first step.
But didn't they know? You know, we knew these things before. I remember clearly.
Sorry,
especially
to cut
Igbo land.
short.
Okay.
We would like to go on a short break. Do not
She's
go
bringing
anywhere.
so many interesting
Yes,
things.
don't worry, we'll get back to that when we come back after the break. Viewers, please stay tuned.
This is Afro Issues.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned.
Are there bodies like NGOs responsible for widows' needs and defend them from in-laws' demands? Can't these traditions and customs be abolished?
All right, so there are some bodies, there are some NGOs that look into the concerns of widows. We also have some government parastatals where they can go in. We have the Human Rights Commission. If they feel that their human rights have been infringed upon in any way, they are free to walk into the office of the Human Rights Commission and state their grievances. They will have the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria, which is where I work, and we deal mainly with the indigents, those that can't afford to pay for legal services.
Okay.
When they come into our offices, we do it for them pro bono. Then there is also Dreamful. That stands for Dr. Emmanuel Olusegun Memorial Foundation.
Okay, that's non-governmental.
Yes, it's
Okay.
non-governmental. And then they help widows and widowers. They train them on so many other things, how to better their lives. Then in Lagos State, I think the Office of Public Defender, OPD, would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
If they feel their rights have been infringed in any way, they can as well walk into the OPD office and make a complaint.
But in cases of death of a husband, most in-laws feel it's their right to inherit their brother's properties, and sometimes including his wife. Now, why do these NGOs remain nonchalant to these things? Because I've never seen a case where someone says, thank God, or someone, if you know who rescued me from this thing. I've never heard.
I don't think the NGOs are nonchalant.
Okay.
I think the problem is that they weren't aware because probably the widows didn't speak up.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe, yes, that if they speak up, they have people that will fight for them. The thing is that most times they're scared because they believe that that my brother-in-law will do juju for me.
Yeah.
They are really, really scared.
That's the
So
fear of
they,
the unknown,
yes,
yeah.
they just prefer to carry their self-pity, just pity themselves, stay in one place. They don't want anyone to fight for them because they just lost their husbands. They don't want them to kill them as
And
well.
the children,
and
too.
the children. So they just stay in one corner, suffering. But I believe if they speak up, we have organizations that can help. Even people that are not even in the government can help. If you see your neighbor, she's a widow and she's suffering, you can help.
Okay, let's talk about court marriage. You know, court marriage helps to deal with these issues even before they occur and protect both the man and the woman from this situation. Why can't people just take court marriage like, you know, we all know traditional marriage is compulsory, like you have to go to the and all that. Why can't people see court marriage in that same way?
Well, this I'm saying wow because for me, and from what I've seen, most people even prefer court marriages.
Yeah,
It is way cheaper.
it's much cheaper.
It's much cheaper. I don't think I've seen anyone that's running away from court marriage.
But I don't think a father would want to let his child or his daughter out because someone came and said, let's take her to the court.
Court, yeah.
They would rather he pays the bride price.
Bride price
And then take her wherever.
No. Well, of course. You do the, like I know that there are some states, like I've heard, there are some Yoruba states that even take this engagement
Seriously.
Yes.
Yes.
They value it.
Yes.
Value it more than
Yes.
anything
Than
else.
any other thing.
Yes.
Yes, but I know that court marriages are way cheaper, and people go for it.
And besides, how would you call yourself a wife if you have not been married in court? I don't see how. I don't see how. Okay, yeah, fine. My parents have been giving their due. My parents have been giving their respect. But do you feel married? Because they carried you and they dumped you in one other family. I don't feel, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we need to educate our girls that that is not it. Yes, the marriage is between two families. The two families have come together. But you as a wife, do you really feel that you have had the chance to say your vows? Those beautiful things, you understand? And of course, when you go to the court, you will be asked to raise your hand and swear. So once you do that, then you now say, truly,
I am someone's wife.
I'm someone's wife.
Yes.
I am truly married. And then of course you go to church. All of those have its memories and everything.
Yeah.
But the protection is the court. Like she said, the protection is the court. It protects you, the woman, it protects you, the man also. And there are lots of advantages to that. So young people need to be seeing that.
You have a wedding certificate.
You have a certificate.
That
Because
goes
even
a
when you
long
go
way.
to church, they will ask you for that paper. Did you go to court? If you went to court, you need to bring that paper.
Well, I recently heard
Yes.
that. Not
And
even
then if
heard,
you go
I
to
read.
church, and then
Okay.
if you go to church first before going to court, there's another paper they will give you that you should present in court.
Oh.
So it works, yes.
So
Pari
they
passu.
Well,
work
well,
hand in hand.
They work together.
I recently heard that not all churches are legalized.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I read. So
To
that means some
marry.
people are just
Yeah.
going there and coming out and say,
Yeah.
I'm married.
Well,
Not
because
knowing their
listen,
church is not registered or something.
Yes,
That's-
yes.
So
I
bind
think
people
it's
together.
not been so long that they got. That, I think it's not been so
The
long that
exact
the
figures.
news came out.
Yes.
So many churches are not licensed.
License, yes,
to
that's the
marry.
word.
So I
Thank
think
you.
I would advise any couples that are intending to marry, make sure that your church is licensed,
licensed.
to marry. If not, they will just give you blessings of marriage and you're
Just the blessings. And in your head, I'm like, oh.
And then when you finish
married.
doing that, where's the certificate? They must give you a certificate that you must present to the courts. They must. So if you
Yes.
don't get it, better know that you're not married.
You're not married, they're just
You're not married.
cohabiting.
You're just cohabiting. So you must go to
And that's when this in-laws palaver sets
Comes
in.
in, I'm telling you, my
Start
dear.
coming to my brother's property and not, and the wife will not have anything to present. No certificate, no nothing. So
Well, it's even bad when there are children that she has to feed and all that. So
Yes, that's why I
just
said
want to
this
advise
it
people that
falls so much on the women.
couples that are intending to marry,
Mhm.
do it the proper way. Just go the whole length of it properly. Don't just cohabit because you want to cohabit with a man or a woman. You want to get married to her, you marry her properly. You know, there's some customs here in Nigeria, also in the East, where you're living with a woman for years, you're not married to her, you didn't even do anything to her, you just
Took her
just
to
met
your
somewhere.
house,
You found yourselves in one house and instead of living together, you have children.
I'm
When
telling
she
you.
dies, God forbid if she dies when she dies, and you go and inform her people that your daughter
You
is-
marry her in
they'll
death.
first ask you,
Yes.
who are you talking
Who are
about?
you? Exactly.
Who are you? You might have been going there over the years with your children, they know you, but they will ask you, who are you?
Wow.
Who
Bring the
died?
body. How did this person
Who
die?
is this?
Who is this
You will
person?
marry that woman in death. So you always make sure that if you want to get married, you go through it proper way.
That's why
process.
families come together. They do that
to
marriage.
avoid unnecessary
Because
drama.
it's the African tradition and it's a wonderful tradition. It's a beautiful one.
Yes.
You understand? Before this program, we were talking about the loving things, the memories,
Yeah.
The dramas
the
about
drama,
marriage and all that.
the marriage, traditional marriage ceremony, and all of that. It is beautiful, lovely memories for you to have, for you to say, tell your children and grandchildren.
Yes.
It's really
So
beautiful.
just do it right.
But you must do it right, like she said. You must. Every young person must do it right.
Well, the issue of widowhood in Africa, in terms of apparent plight of these bereaved and grieving women, needs to be urgently attended to. Thank you everyone for your inputs. To my viewers, thank you so very much for staying tuned. And please do not forget to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please stay well and I'll see you same time. Bye.
This is our issue.